Good morning, children. This week we shall continue reading Matchbox by Ashapoornadevi. She depicts an unhealthy man-woman relationship prevalent in a family. So we have seen that in the last week that Ajit and Nomita are on the verge of a quarrel over a letter. They are on the verge of a dispute over a letter. And we shall continue reading. That he smiles derisively and says, "Why bother to read that? I'll go and get a money order form." Nomita's head hangs low with the shame and insult of it. So, some time ago, out of anger and grief, Nomita forbade her mother from writing to her on postcards. She thought that from then on she would try to send her a little money. So that they are on the verge of a quarrel, he smiles derisively. Derisively means mockingly, making fun of, and says, "Why bother to read that letter?" Actually, this letter has come from her mother, but her husband says that why bother to read that? Just go and get a money order form. Just send some money for her. That's enough. So her head hangs low. So it's an idiomatic usage. Head hangs low with shame and insult means that she is humiliated. So it shows humiliation, that she is humiliated of herself, and she out of anger and grief, extreme anger and grief, anger mixed with grief, sorrow. She forbade means actually she had stopped her mother and sending on postcards. So she had forbade means stopped her mother, stopped someone doing something, forbade her mother on sending letters on postcards, because if one sends in postcard, it can be visible to all. So she has forbade means stopped her from sending on in postcards. And she thought of sending some little money to her mother. Pull together. So we shall continue reading. Try to send her a little money, whatever she could pull together in secret. So this was what came of letters in envelopes too. Suddenly, Nomita flames into anger at her mother. Why does she keep on begging like this? Why won't she let Nomita keep her self-respect, her dignity? No, this time she'll write and tell her mother clearly, "I can't do any more. Don't hope for anything from me." So she decides that she would send some money. She could pull together. Again, pull together means something that we work hard to collect something. So something that you get after working, means trying hard. So she would try hard to collect some money, means she is not able to send that much of money. So she would collect it. She would get it working hard, means doing something. And in secret means she would send it secretly, because she doesn't want Ajit to know about this. She would send it secretly. So that's why this mother has sent in envelopes. Then she flames into anger. Again, idiomatic usage. Flames into anger means the intensity of anger. Intensity, that it shows the intensity. Adinte തീവ്രത കാണിക്കുന്നു. And she is angry because why my mother keep on begging, continue begging like this. She says that why won't she let me keep my dignity, my self-respect. എന്നെ അന്തസ്സോടുകൂടി ആത്മാഭിമാനത്തോടുകൂടി ഇരിക്കാൻ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് അമ്മ അനുവദിക്കുന്നില്ല? So she believes that by doing so it affects her dignity, it affects her self-respect in her family. And she decides to tell her clearly that I can't do any more. Don't hope for anything. I can't do anything. More like. Right then, Ajit steps into the room after finishing his leisurely Sunday bath. Nomita's sharp indignation at the insult, simmering all this while, seems to want to dash itself violently against him. Nomita rose out. "When did this letter arrive?" Ajit glances at her obliquely, estimating the magnitude of his error. Another handful of cash for this, he had thought, and decided not to give the letter to Nomita. He was going to tear it up. So that's the thing. At that time, as she was angry towards her mother, Ajit came into the room after his leisurely Sunday bath. Sunday being a holiday, he might have a leisurely, means relaxing bath, and after that he comes to the room. And her sharp indignation means anger, so that she is so angry towards her family, she is so angry towards her mother, and she is so angry about herself, means about in such a state, such a humiliated state. Her sharp indignation, anger at the insult, being humiliated like this. Her mother humiliates her, her husband humiliates her. So she is in a state that depression, anger and humiliation. Simmering, boiling stage, that it has been simmering all the while, has been dashing itself violently. Dash itself violently means attack, smash, violent attack. So she has been simmering all the while, that all the while means in a suppressed state. Her anger, her grief, her humiliation in a suppressed state. All of a sudden it dashes means smashes violently, attacks violently against him. And she roars out, alara. When did this letter arrive? And see Ajit's reaction. He glances at her obliquely. Obliquely means sideways, like in angle wise, like estimating the magnitude of his error. So he doesn't react directly. He looks at her sideways. Estimating means calculating the magnitude. Magnitude means seriousness of his error, means seriousness of his mistake. So he glances at her sideways and estimating, calculating the magnitude means the seriousness, the gravity of the issue, and another handful of cash for this. So in his mind, he thinks that it can be solved. This issue can be solved with a handful of cash. He had thought and decided not to give the letter to Nomita. I won't give this letter to Nomita because it can be sold with a handful of cash. And I'm going to tear this. I'm not going to give this letter to Nomita. I'm going to tear it. Tear it means I'm going to tear it up. Throw it away. I am going to tear it and throw it away. He made a big mistake because he couldn't estimate the anger of Nomita, or he couldn't estimate. He has underestimated Nomita. Not that Ajit is going to feel abashed about that. As though trying hard to remember, he says, letter? What letter? Oh, yes, indeed. There was a letter from your mother and I just hadn't got around to give it to you. Why hadn't you got around to it? Why? Answer me. Why hadn't you got around to it? So they are on the verge of a verbal attack. വലിയൊരു കലഹത്തിന്റെ വക്കിലാണ് അവർ. So he says that, he decides that in his mind, I am not going to hand this letter over to Nomita. I am going to tear it up. I am going to throw it away. But the writer herself says that he made a big mistake. And Ajit is not going to feel abashed. Abashed means ashamed of this. He says that, letter, trying to remember, trying to recollect all these things. He's acting like recollecting all this. Letter, what letter? Oh, letter from your mother. Oh, okay, I hadn't got around to give it to you. Means I didn't think of got around to give it to you. Means I didn't take it seriously to give it to you. Why hadn't you got around to you? So on that point, she gets angry. Why hadn't you got around to it? Why? Answer me. Why hadn't you got her? So she gets angry on that particular word. Means you didn't get enough time. You didn't bother to deliver me that letter. What a nuisance. I had forgotten. Why else? Liar. She hisses like a snake. ഒരു സ്നേക്ക് ചീറ്റി വരുന്നത് പോലെ. അപ്പം that anger, grief. So he neglects. As Ajit tried to neglect her problem. While Ajit tries to neglect her problem, she gets angry. She gets more angry. That she says, she calls him a liar. 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 And she hisses like a... So Ajit replies that I didn't get around. Get around means do something. To do something. I didn't get time to deliver that letter to you. That she gets angry and she hisses like a... Hiss means the sharp sound made by a snake. Hisses like a snake and she says, liar. Why are you saying whatever comes to your mouth? Means that you are just saying whatever comes to your mouth. Don't people forget? No, they don't. Why did you open my letter? This charge Ajit tries to scatter to winds. What if I opened it, my own wife's letter? Be quiet, I tell you. For what reason should you open my letters? Haven't I told you 1,000 times not to? Ajit doesn't fear Nomitha's anger. He fears a row. So he smiles an affected smile and says, if you are forbidding it, then it's definite something. Shouldn't I make sure that no one is passing you love letters in secret? Stop it. What a common, vulgar man you are. After this, it is not possible for Ajit to smile his fake smile any longer. So, in order that she hisses, he reacts like a snake, means hisses like a snake. She roars, that she calls her husband liar. So they are they're on the verge of a dispute, verbal attack. Then she says that that Ajit tried to defend her, saying that you say whatever comes to your mouth. Then she asked, why did you open my letter? So he tries to scatter to the winds. Scatter to the winds means to avoid that situation, to avoid a dispute. He says that, why should I? That I be quiet, I tell you, that he says that I opened it because it's my wife's letter, my own wife's letter. So in order to defend her attack, he says that it's my own wife's letter, I opened it. Be quiet, I tell you. For what reason should you open my letters? Haven't I told you 100 times or 1,000 times not to do so? Then he says that in order to that, Ajit doesn't fear Nomitha's anger. He fears a row, means he wants to avoid a dispute. So he smiles, affected smile. Affected smile means it's not sincere. It's not sincere, it's just to avoid someone. Then he says that if you are forbidding it, if you are stopping from that, if you are stopping me from that, then there can be something doubtful. Because I want to make sure that no one is sending love letters to you. So he defends himself, saying that he checked that letter in order to know that whether someone is sending love letters to his wife. Then her anger at its peak. She says that, stop, vulgar man you are, such a rude person you are. Vulgar means can be unsophisticated, rude. So he calls him rude, vulgar. And after this, it is not possible for Ajit to smile his fake smile any longer. So he can't stop this dispute with his fake smile. He can't no longer stop this dispute with his fake smile. As we have already said, fake smile, affected smile, which is not sincere. We shall continue reading. Now, he too picks up the poisoned knife. He says, is that so? Those who whine day and night hold out their palms to their son-in-law, and they are the high-class people. A dung picker's daughter becomes a queen. And so, shut up, Nomitha yells. Their room is on the third floor. There's a blessing. Otherwise, with that scream, everyone would have come to look. So Ajit comes to know that he can't hold the dispute now. He can't stop the dispute. So he picks up his poisoned knife. Actually, poison knife is an idiomatic usage. Knife itself is dangerous. When it is poisoned, it is doubly dangerous. So poisoned knife. That he says that he started humiliating Nomita. So that's a way of attack, that he humiliates her again, saying that it's not fair that who whine means beg, or the one who high-pitched cry means crying over something that they want, screaming on something, whine, ഇങ്ങനെ കരഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആവശ്യപ്പെട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുക. That whine day and night, hold out their palm means begging to the son-in-law. It's not fair that someone whine means beg all the day and night to his son-in-law for money. High-class people. So he humiliates her on her poverty. That high-class people, and she calls her a dung picker's daughter. Dung picker means someone who picks dung and dry it. Means that poor people do that. So she calls, or he humiliates her by calling dung picker's daughter. So it's again an humiliation to Nomita. And he says that the dung picker's daughter has become a queen. Shut up, Nomita yells again a sharp voice. And their room is on the third floor. And in the beginning itself, she told that it's a 3-storied building and their room is on the third floor. And she says that it's luckily that their room is on the third floor. Their bedroom is on the third floor. That otherwise, someone would have entered. Someone would have come to that room hearing this scream, yell. Means ഭയങ്കര ശബ്ദത്തിലുള്ള വിളി, ശബ്ദം ഉറക്കെ ഉള്ള ബഹളം. So they would have come to their room. Shut up, Ajit roars. What shut up? I'll do what I want. What I please. What will you do? Can you do anything? I can't do anything. Almost panting. Nomita pronounces each word clearly. You want to see if I can do anything? And immediately she does something that is astonishing. She grabs Ajit's matchbox that's lying near his cigarette on the table, and that she lights a matchstick and touches to her sari. So that's the thing. Their room is on the third floor, and they were screaming out, yelling out to each other. And Ajit rose, stop it, shut up. And she says that, shut up, what will you do? Can you do anything? So there is a challenge that has come from Ajit. So she says, she's almost panting. Panting means difficulty in taking breath. Difficulty in taking breath means as she is anger at its peak. Anger and grief at its peak, she is panting, and she pronounces every word clearly. Pronounces means declares, means she pronounces everything clearly, and she do something astonishing. Surprisingly, she does something. She grabs the matchstick lying on the table next to that, and she lights the matchstick and she touches to her sari. She lights her sari. Instantly it flares up. Flares up means the flames goes up. And the very fine anchal means the loose end of a sari is called anchal. Mundani. The loose end of a sari is called anchal. She lights the anchal of her sari, and anchal of a wealthy wife's sari gets flames goes up. The very next instant, Ajit Have you gone mad? He says. That he realized that it can be controlled. So he jumps and grabs the burning patch and slaps it between his hands and puts out the fire. So he slaps it between his hands, that he is trying to put out the fire. He realizes that it can't be controlled. So he grabs that and he slaps it between his hands to put out the fire. And to tell the truth, that he is little afraid. That he never expected that Nomita would do such a thing. That he was a little astonished, surprised and afraid. And he looks fearfully at Nomita's face. Fearfully at her. Now that reaction, that he is afraid of her, that she's there, he sees a fire burning, the bright blazing red. So he never expected Nomita to react like this. So he was astonished, surprised. He was also afraid of Nomita. And that's the word matchbox. That's a reference to matchbox. Means we never expect it to destroy anything. We never expect it to explode. We never expect matchsticks to explode. പൊട്ടിത്തെറിക്കുമെന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഒരിക്കലും പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നില്ല ഒരു മാച്ച് ബോക്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു മാച്ച് സ്റ്റിക്ക്. ബട്ട് if it is explode, means it can flame 1,000 lankas എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ, that he never expected Nomita to react like this. And when she exploded, he sees that a bright blazing red, means it's hot, it's bright, it's burning hot and red face of Nomita.